Вы внешне всегда очень хладнокровный, сдержанный. Неужели никогда не возникает желания кому-то, что называется, врезать?
Всегда.
Всегда.
Я с этим живу, но я с этим борюсь.
This is my video update on this Saturday afternoon, May the 3rd. Coming to you from Limassol, Cyprus. Let's talk about some news. And it is going to rain. That's right. Rain is coming here in Limassol. So let's knock out this video before the rain starts. So, Rubio and Vance and Musk, they really jumped on the AfD story that I talked about yesterday in my video update. German intel saying that AfD is an extremist party, paving the way for the banning of AfD, the most popular political party in Germany. And the German political elite are now moving to ban the AfD. That's what this is all about. And Rubio, he posted on X. What did Rubio post on X? He said, Germany just gave its spy agency new powers to surveil the opposition. That's not democracy. It's tyranny in disguise. What is truly extremist is not the popular AfD, which took second in the recent election, but rather the establishment's deeply open border immigration policies that the AfD opposes. Germany should reverse course. So that was Rubio's post on X. And Vance, he posted on X, the Vice President of the United States, the AfD is the most popular party in Germany and by far the most representative of East Germany. Now the bureaucrats try to destroy it. The West tore down the Berlin Wall together, and it has been rebuilt, not by the Soviets or the Russians, but by the German establishment. The German establishment has rebuilt the wall. All in all, it's just another brick in the wall. So that's Vance. And Musk, he posted on X banning the centrist AfD. Germany's most popular party would be an extreme attack on democracy. True. This is all true. AfD did take second in the elections. AfD is now the most popular party in Germany. German intel is going to ramp up surveillance on the AfD. The AfD, I guess you could argue that it is a centrist party. I guess that's what Musk is saying. You could make that point. You couldn't argue that point. But the German establishment attacking democracy. The EU establishment attacking democracy. That's what's happening. Going after Le Pen, going after Georgescu. Elections in Romania, the do-over elections in Romania. This is democracy in the European Union, the lack of democracy in the European Union. All of these points made by Rubio, Vance, and Musk are true. Now do Ukraine, right? Now do Ukraine, Marco Rubio. Let's hear your thoughts about democracy in Ukraine and the Green Goblin canceling elections last year and remaining in power. Come on, Rubio. Come on, Vance. Come on, Musk. You talked about it a few months ago, but you don't talk about it anymore. Why is that? we have reports which say that Zelensky is relieved because the Trump administration, they're not pressuring him to hold elections anymore. They've taken off the table the pressure for Zelensky to hold democratic elections in Ukraine. He can remain in power, and Zelensky is now relieved at the fact that the Trump administration has taken the elections off the table when it comes to Project Ukraine negotiations with Project Ukraine. On a side note, Axios is reporting that the front runner for the NSA to take over is Stephen Miller. He's the person that, according to Axios, is most likely going to take over the NSA from the now U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, Mike Waltz. NSA Director Stephen Miller, who's an immigration guy. I believe he is in Homeland? I think he's in Homeland Security. Deputy Director. I'm not quite sure what his current title is, but he's someone who has been very, very much involved in the border and immigration. And according to Axios, he worked very well with Rubio when it came to the border and securing the border. And because he worked well with Rubio, and he's considered to be a very effective manager, and he's very loyal to Trump, they are reporting that Trump is going to tap him as NSA. And he may not be so hot on moving over to NSA, but if Trump asks him, Axios is saying he will do it. So that's the update there. Stephen Miller. I didn't think about him when I was talking about this yesterday. I don't think he knows much about foreign policy, or he's not that interested in foreign policy. So I'm not sure what kind of a pick Miller would be. But Trump chooses loyalty above all else. So that's the update there. Scoop: Stephen Miller emerges as top contender for Trump's next national security advisor. That's from Axios. So yesterday, Ukraine launched a massive missile and drone strike into Russia, targeting Crimea. 8 Western-supplied missiles shot down over the Black Sea. A series of Ukrainian drone raids has also been repelled across Russia, with a total of 170 UAVs downed. Wow, that's a lot. 170 UAVs downed. 8 Storm Shadow missiles is what I've been hearing, what I've been reading. So Storm Shadow missiles launched into Russia, into Crimea. From what I understand, they were effectively shot down. But things have been quiet over the past few months with ATACMS, Storm Shadows, Scalp, all of those missiles. They stopped being fired into Russian territory, but they're back. And that must mean, or at least it points to U.S. targeting. So as the Trump White House was acting as the negotiator, the mediator, as they were playing the part of mediator, which they are not. They are actively involved in this conflict, the United States, but they were playing the part of mediator. and Witkoff was meeting with Putin, 4 meetings with the Russian president, we were not getting any reports of missiles, Storm Shadow, Scalp, and especially ATACMS, being launched into Russia. And now that the negotiations appear to have broken down and have crumbled, we are now getting Storm Shadows launched into Russia. This may be pointing to U.S. targeting once again. Not a good sign. What will Russia do as it continues to try and normalize relations with the United States? What will Russia do? We'll wait and see. They effectively handled the Storm Shadows, but as is always the case, eventually, if they keep on launching the Storm Shadows, and as it appears the U.S. is providing the targeting, eventually one of the Storm Shadows or the Scout missiles or the ATACMS, if they continue to launch them, will get through and will do some damage. So that's the update there. Reuters is reporting that the Trump White House is now considering banking and energy sanctions on Russia. So it looks like the Trump White House is providing targeting for missiles, and now it looks like the Trump White House is about to place more sanctions on Russia. Energy sanctions, according to Reuters, focusing on Gazprom. Banking and energy sanctions. I don't know what the banking sanctions are going to be. Secondary sanctions that Lindsey Graham has imposed. You're not allowed to purchase Russian oil, according to Lindsey, the bone crusher Graham. And energy sanctions against Gazprom. This is going to cripple the Russian economy, according to officials that Reuters has spoken with. Now, the sanctions have been prepared. They're ready to go, according to Reuters. The only thing that is needed, the only thing that the Russia hawks in the Trump White House are waiting for before they launch these crippling, bone-crushing sanctions against Russia is the okay from U.S. President Trump. That's what's needed. Reuters is reporting, according to their sources, that it will be Trump who eventually signs off on these sanctions against Russia. Exclusive, U.S. readies Russia sanctions over Ukraine. Unclear if Trump will sign, sources say. The targets include state-owned Russian energy giant Gazprom and major entities involved in the natural resources and banking sectors, said an administration official who, like the other sources, requested anonymity to discuss the issue. The official provided no further details. It was far from clear, however, whether the package will be approved by Trump, whose sympathy for Moscow's statements and actions have given way to frustration with Russian President Putin's spurning of his calls for a ceasefire and peace talks. You know what it sounds like? If you go off of Reuters, who is not the most reliable of sources, but it looks like Reuters is basically saying that the Russia hawks, they're setting up Trump. They are setting up Trump. The Russia hawks, it looks like they've understood that the China hawks are starting to retreat, and I'll get into China later on in this video. But the tariff war might be heading into some sort of a walkback or negotiations. And it looks like the Russia hawks are now seizing on the opportunity to restart. Someone is taking a whiz over there. Someone is taking a whiz. It's the water. It's the water. Makes you want to take a pee. Anyway, What was I saying? Yeah, they're going to look to re-escalate, to restart with Russia, the Russia hawks taking precedent over the China hawks. That's how it looks like to me, and they are boxing Trump in. They're preparing the sanctions. They're going to Reuters and saying, we've got the sanctions ready. Trump is frustrated with Putin. Trump is very friendly with Putin. That's what Reuters is saying in this article. He's been very friendly with Putin and Russia. We have the crippling sanctions ready to go. It's up to Trump now. What's it going to be, Trump? Are you going to continue to kneel before Putin, or are you going to sign off on the sanctions? Because after all, according to Reuters, Putin just keeps on rejecting your peace initiatives as the negotiator, as the mediator. Ukraine has agreed. The EU has agreed, according to Reuters. Europe's agreed. They've all agreed to your peace initiatives, but Russia has not. So Trump, are you going to finally sign off on the next sanctions against Russia? That is Reuters' article. They're trying to box in Trump. They're trying to goad him into re-escalating with Russia. And he probably will sign off on these sanctions. A lot of pressure on him to sign off on these sanctions. And of course, he has a lot of pressure from people like Lindsey the Bone Crusher Graham. So that is the article from Reuters. By the way, the State Department, they issued a statement saying that they are not walking away from Project Ukraine. I talked about this in my video update yesterday. Vance gave an interview and said that we're going to have another 100 days of talks and negotiations. Tammy Bruce, the State Department spokeswoman, said that the U.S. was going to walk away as mediator, and then Rubio pretty much said the same thing to Hannity. He said, if we can't get a deal, this can't go on forever, and we're going to walk away. But Rubio was also implying walk away as a negotiator and a mediator, which leads me to believe that the U.S. is not going to walk away from Project Ukraine. They'll walk away from this fantasy that they were some mediating party, and they'll still stay engaged with Project Ukraine, probably selling weapons to the Zelensky regime, and downplaying their role in Ukraine. I think Trump is going to do as we've been saying on the Duran and on this channel. He's going to go right down the middle. He'll downplay the U.S.'s involvement in Ukraine. He'll say this was Biden's war. I've gotten us out of this war. We're no longer engaged in Project Ukraine. But what we are doing is that we're selling weapons to the Zelensky regime, and we're now making money when it comes to Project Ukraine in order to recoup the $350 billion that Biden gave to the Zelensky regime. That will be the messaging. I think that's going to be how all of this ends up. We'll see. We will see. But the State Department is saying, as mediators, we're going to be out of the mediation game, but we're not walking away from the Project Ukraine game. So that is the statement from the State Department. Reuters, very busy yesterday. They are reporting, according to their sources, that Europe's Euroclear, the Brussels-based Euroclear, which is holding the stolen Russian frozen assets, that they will be taking $3 billion of the Russian frozen assets, not the interest. We're not talking about the interest. We're talking about the actual principal. They're going to take $3 billion and they're going to send it to Western investors, whatever that means. They did not say who these Western investors are, but they're going to take $3 billion of the money, not the interest, of the actual principal, and they're going to give it to Western investors. Euroclear said they have gotten the green light from the EU to do this, and they say the reason that they're going to take the $3 billion and give it to Western investors is because they say that Russia has frozen the Western investors' money inside of Russia. And so this is their retaliation to Russia, freezing Western investor funds inside of the Russian Federation. You know what's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. I think it's pretty obvious. The Europeans, they have been dipping into the actual principle of the frozen assets, not the interest. They've been dipping into the actual stolen frozen assets, and they've been taking that money and they've been handing it over to the Zelensky regime. And now it looks like they're trying to close up some open positions. That's what it looks like. They're trying to cover up some holes, plug up some holes in the books. Yeah, because over the last 2 years, 2+ years, that we've had this whole frozen assets saga going on, every couple of months, the UK or France or the European Union, a member state of the EU, whatever, they've been giving money to the Zelensky regime. And they always say that this money is coming out of the interest generated from the Russian frozen assets. Stammer is going to give $2 billion to Ukraine, of which is coming from the interest of the Russian frozen assets. Every couple of months, France sends $1 billion or $2 billion or $3 billion to the Zelensky regime, which is money from the interest of the Russian frozen assets. Now we know that the Russian frozen assets, the interest generated every year is $1.5 billion. So obviously the $1.5 billion does not cover all of the money that's being sent to Ukraine, with the excuse that this is coming from the interest of the Russian frozen assets. So I think it's pretty clear. My guess would be that that they've been dipping into the actual frozen assets, and now they're trying to cover up some holes. That's what it looks like to me. I could be wrong. Exclusive, Europe to hand billions in frozen Russian cash to Western investors, sources say. Please tell us who these Western investors are. Reuters. Are we talking about Zelensky? Is that the Western investor that we're talking about? Anyway. Zelensky, Yermak, Podolyak. We're gonna get some more money from Russian frozen assets. Let's buy some property in Cyprus. All right. Let's shift gears now and talk about everything that is happening in Syria. Well, not everything. I would need a whole video for that. But some big news in Syria. HTS, the Al-Qaeda al-Nusra government of Syria, if you want to call them a government, led by al-Jilani, who once had a $10 million reward on his head by the United States. His regime is annihilating the Druze community, very much like they did to the Christians and the Alawites. They're now doing the same thing to the Druze community, and his forces were moving south of Damascus in the Suwada region, right south of Damascus, very close to, not very close, close to let's say the Golan Heights, okay? And they were going to target the Druze community in that region, and Israel reacted. Now keep in mind that HTS is now just the proxy of Erdogan in Turkey. So basically when I say that HTS was moving towards the south, close to the Golan Heights area, you could just basically say that the Turkish proxy was moving close to the Golan Heights area, and Israel, they reacted and they fired missiles into al-Jilani's presidential compound, the presidential palace, which was once the residence of Assad. That is now where al-Jilani hides out, and they fired these missiles for the first time that Israel has fired missiles so close to the presidential palace in Damascus. And Netanyahu said this was a warning to HTS and al-Jilani. He said it's a warning to not go after the Druze community. But what many analysts believe is going on here is that this is Syria This is Israel basically telling Syria HTS, and by extension Erdogan, don't think about moving south. Back off, take a step back. You're coming way too close to our area of Syria. When Syria was carved up, there was an obvious understanding between Israel and Turkey and the United States who controls what. And it looks like Erdogan and Turkey may have been moving too close to the areas that Israel is controlling, and so they're kind of brushing back Turkey. That's the way it looks. And there are reports saying that Israel just might move into the south and just take over that territory if HTS decides to press their luck, if Turkey decides to press its luck and move towards the south. So that's a developing story out of Syria, which has become just a complete mess. An HTS government run by Erdogan, and the country divided up by basically three powers. So that's that update. And I promised that we'd talk about China, and so let's talk about China and the tariff wars, because it does look like the China hawks are not going to get their conflict and their smash up with China just yet. Look at how clean the water is. Because we are getting reports that now China is starting to walk back some of the tariff retaliation against the United States, very quietly exempting about a quarter of U.S. imports from tariffs. And the main import from the United States that China is exempting, that they need in China, that is overwhelmingly provided by the United States, is ethane, which is used to create plastic. And the plastic factories in China, they need ethane, and China gets this from the United States in massive quantities. And so they exempted this from the 100, what was it, 125% or 125% tariffs. Otherwise, the plastic factories in China, according to various reports, were at risk of closing down. China removes 125% tariff on U.S. ethane imports, Reuters reports. Now, the U.S., they've also exempted various Chinese imports, computers, laptops, mobile devices. They did that a couple of weeks ago. That was more out in the open, the U.S. announcement that they're going to remove most of the tariffs on computers and mobile devices from China. China has removed these tariffs from the U.S. very quietly. Not a big announcement from the government, nothing like that. But this has been confirmed. So it does look like slowly, very quietly, we are getting a walk back in the tariff war between the United States and China. Maybe over time we will eventually get some bilateral talks and negotiations and a resolution to this tariff war. China has sent out signals. Chinese officials, trade and commerce officials, have talked about sitting down with the United States and talking about the tariffs. So that is an update there. So as it looks like things are calming down with China, that's how it looks. Of course, tomorrow everything can change. I have to say that tomorrow everything can change. But as things look to be de-escalating with China, slowly de-escalating with China, looks like the Russia hawks are now looking to re-escalate with Russia. And we still have Iran and the Middle East and everything going on over there as well. Let's not forget that Trump just the other day posted on Truth Social that no one should buy Iranian oil. And of course, this is not only aimed at Iran, but more importantly, it's aimed at China, who purchases 80% of Iran's oil. So everything is kind of connected, isn't it? Chaos. It's all chaotic, and it is all, in a way, connected. Did you see the CIA recruitment video that they launched in Mandarin Chinese on social media, where they are trying to recruit spies to work for the CIA? This is true. This is absolutely true. They put out a Mandarin recruitment video, very well produced, very slick video. Obviously, this was something that they put a lot of time and effort into, and this was launched with the purpose of looking for spies inside of China who are unhappy with the Chinese government and to work for the CIA. I believe they launched 2 videos on social media, the CIA. So much for the de-escalation with China. I don't know. It's all chaotic, man. It is all just completely chaotic. A lot of it just does not make any sense. A public toilet in Limassol, Cyprus, everybody. Not bad. Pretty clean, actually. So that's the video. That's the news about this recruitment video. Very provocative. China's not going to be happy, but I don't think China's going to be too concerned either. I think they're more than capable of handling any. You'd have to be crazy, but I think they're more than capable of handling any Chinese citizens who decide to turn on their government and spy for the CIA. I think China can take care of it, but you would have to be absolutely bonkers to take on this CIA job. They cannot pay me enough, that's for sure, because China's going to catch you. Anyway, that's an update there. Can we get into some clown world territory or not yet? Oh, let's see. So much news today. How am I doing on time? I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right here on the dip bar. Parallel bars. The dip bar. I love the outdoor gyms. Very cool. Okay. Before we get into our clown world, this story is connected to our main clown world story. And that has to do with little Napoleon Macron, who is lobbying the Vatican to have as the next pope to vote for Aveline, Cardinal Aveline from Marseille. Macron wants him to be the next pope, and he's whining and dining various officials and cardinals, church leaders, to try and convince them to push for Cardinal Aveline to be the next pope. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. The reason that Macron is trying to get him to be the next pope is because, according to Macron, Aveline is very pro-EU, very pro-Europe, very pro-globalist, very anti-sovereigntist, and he is super liberal. So he checks all the boxes that Macron is looking for, and he's trying to get him to be the next pope. There's just something about Macron and him meddling in church affairs, in the Catholic Church affairs, that's just sleazy, just not good, man. It's not good to have someone like Macron deeply involved in your church. It's just my opinion. I'm not Catholic, but I would not like it if Macron was meddling in Greek Orthodox affairs. He probably has, but hasn't been made public. I don't know. Anyway, that's Macron doing the bidding of the globalists. This is what the globalists told him to do, no doubt about it. So that's what he's doing. And that leads right into our clown world for the day, which I don't like this one. I don't like it. I understand, knowing Trump, we all know Trump. We understand why he did it. He's trolling. He's trying to stay in the center of attention, right? He continues to try and dominate the news cycle. All these things. He knows that this is going to fuel the memes from his America First supporters, while at the same time is going to create outrage from everyone that has TDS. So Trump understands all these things, and we understand all these things, and we understand why Trump did what he did. But he posted a meme on an AI-generated image, not even a meme, an AI-generated image on Truth Social, and it is real. He did post this of himself as the next pope. And you're seeing the image on your screen right now. Trump posts AI-generated photo of himself as pope. Oh boy. Not the best of AI photos to post, in my opinion. Once again, the Pope just passed away a week ago. The Vatican is voting on the next pope. They've started the process for the next pope. And you put up this photo as the President of the United States. Come on, bro. Come on. You must have 1,000 more important things that need your attention than this. But as I said before, we all know why he does stuff like this. But once again, I'm not Catholic. But if I was, I'm not. If I was, I would not be so happy with this image. That's just my opinion. I'm Orthodox, so Greek Orthodox. So I would not be happy if he posted something like this when it came to the Greek Orthodox Church. I would not be happy at all. But anyway, that's an image that is all over the interwebs. It is getting a lot of attention, which was the point of it all. So, the robot, the AI robot that went berserk on its computer programmer, on its creator. Did you see that video? I don't know if this is real. The reports are that this is real. This really happened. There are other reports, some reports, which claim this image has been manipulated or doctored in some way in order to tarnish the company that creates this robot. I don't know. I can't confirm this. It looks real to me. I've read many reports which say this really did happen. Hard to confirm, but let's just assume this did happen, and the computer programmer of this AI robot, the reports are that he put in some bad code, and when he went to start up the robot went berserk and just wanted to tear his head off. And man, we don't need AI robots. Man, I'm telling you, we don't need this. We do not need this. All kinds of Terminator vibes, Skynet Terminator vibes going on. Not good. Remember when Sarah Connor was talking to Terminator, the first Terminator, and Sarah Connor was talking to Kyle? Was it Kyle? That was his name, right? That came from the future, who was with John Connor, and he came from the future to protect Sarah Connor, and he tells Sarah Connor, he says that when he's explaining about the Terminator, Schwarzenegger, he says it can't be It can't be reasoned with. It feels. It can't be reasoned with. It can't be bargained with. He said it feels no pain. It feels no sadness or empathy or anything like that. He says all it wants to do is kill us. It will not stop until we are dead. That's what he said. It will not stop until we are dead. That's where we're heading towards, man. until you're dead, I think he said, because the robot came from the future to go after Sarah Connor, right? Because Sarah Connor was going to be the mother of John Connor, and John Connor saves the world. Where's John Connor, everybody? Where is John Connor? Because the Terminators are coming. They are coming. All right, let's do one more Clown World. Do I have time? I don't think I have time. Maybe I do have a little bit of time. And then I'll just ride the bike, get my exercise in. All right, Kaya Kallas, stunning and brave Alexander Stoop. No, stunning and brave Kaya Kallas. She posted on X, rising tensions between India and Pakistan are alarming. I urge both sides to show restraint and pursue dialogue to ease the situation. Escalation helps no one. I spoke to both Jai Shankar and M. Ishaq Dar today to convey these messages. All right, so we were supposed to get, according to Pakistan media, we were supposed to get an Indian military strike into Pakistan yesterday or 2 days ago. That has not happened. We have not seen a retaliation, thank God, from India for the terrorist attack into Kashmir. It does look like maybe, perhaps, possibly, things are de-escalating. And who knows, maybe Kaya Kallas played a part in it. I don't know. She talks about de-escalation and dialogue. And she says the exact opposite when it comes to Project Ukraine. Huh? India, Pakistan, de-escalate talk. Project Ukraine, we need to escalate more and more. We will never recognize Crimea, she said. And she put out a statement yesterday, and she said that the EU is working on Plan B to continue escalating with Russia if Trump decides to walk away from Project Ukraine. That's stunning and brave Kaya Kallas. That's the video, everybody. The Duran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, ODYSEE, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and X. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch like what I'm wearing in this video update. I have to say that this bicycle really does not do the job at all. Anyway, that's the video, everybody. Take care.